figured maybe 15 nerds from every city somewhere might show up and wear their masks at a building for a while and leave.
No one thought they were going to come out.
This is me on the way there. I haven't slept. I'm very fucking tired.
And I remember going to the park that day, and it's really fucking early in the morning, which I thought was a bad idea. And I'm smoking a cigarette, and I'm looking around like, where the fuck is everybody? There's nobody here.
So here I am, sitting in Bryant Park. Waiting for the other announcer to show up.
I remember thinking like, oh fuck, like, am I gonna be the only one in the park? Am I gonna walk to Scientology with fucking 6 or 7 people? Which totally defeats the entire purpose of this, because now they could single me out, you know? Then I get them and I start walking around and I see there's a lot of green balloons over there for some reason. On the other side of the park, there was like fucking 200 people. There was Guy Fawkes masks everywhere, and I'm like, holy shit, this is huge.
There's a fucking lot of us. That's pretty good. I had no idea how many anons there were until we started moving.
And it just fucking got bigger. I remember walking through Times Square, and everybody in Times Square was in a knot. Like, and you know, this is like a fucking 1,000 person per like fucking minute foot traffic area, and everywhere I'm looking, I'm seeing fucking anon symbols.
How long did this film take to make, to put all together? When did you start making this film?
Well, I started it, I first heard of Anonymous in 2008 when they attacked the Church of Scientology. I live in Los Angeles, and there's a big Scientology presence here. And so that protest was really big, and I thought it was really interesting and frankly just bizarre, because here's, you know, a church created by a science fiction author being protested by people wearing masks created by a science fiction author.
Yeah.
Right? This was a weird scene, right? So I was instantly kind of interested in that, and but I sort of shelved any thought of the documentary until 2010, December 2010, when Anonymous did denial of service attacks on on MasterCard, Visa, and PayPal in protest of those companies cutting off financial services to WikiLeaks. So that's essentially when this documentary started. We started researching a lot at that point, and we just kind of hung on as events after event kept happening.
Wow, okay, great. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, great, okay. My mic's knocked out, so I'm going to shout a little bit. Oh, sorry. Slight sound issues. Okay, so you started in 2008, we're watching it now in 2012, and it still feels incredibly relevant, and I thought it was quite interesting in the film that the Arab Spring is referred to as the Egyptian Revolution. Is this something that is particularly American? Do you refer to that era? Do you refer to that rising as the Egyptian Revolution, or as the Arab Spring? I thought it was quite interesting.
Not specifically, no.
Okay.
I think we'll talk about that time as the Arab Spring. You know,
cool.
Starting certainly with the dramatic events in Tunisia at that point. A lot of my work has been focused on technology. So I've done a lot of work with changes and trends in technology and things happening, and particularly its effect on human beings and how it changes us, and all the way we communicate and who we are as humans. But I've also done a fair amount of work with human rights issues and issues with freedom of speech specifically. I did a story, Crane, about a journalist that was killed there for Frontline. So this had a kind of combination of a bunch of things that I'd actually been sort of working on for a long time. So it really jumped out at me, because I think what they're doing is something entirely new. And a lot of people are starting to hear more about what this is, what kind of movement this is, what they want, what they're after. And yet, I still think it's new, and we don't know where it's going.
Cool. How did you get hold of Aaron Barr? I thought that was fantastic, the fact that he took part in the film.
Credit for being in the film and saying his point.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to tell his story, side of the story, and I sort of said, well, look, I don't think necessarily bring a lot of people to your side of the story, but it is a chance to tell your side of the story. And you know, I think that he says, I think that are reasonable, even things that I would agree with, and just some things that I strongly disagree.
Yeah.
Anonymous is a very difficult kind of phenomenon to get your head around and to sort of define. I don't think even people that identify as anonymous really know that much about what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I mean, I interviewed people in Occupy movements who didn't know that the group had ever attacked the Church of Scientology, which was a huge defining moment for that group, for Anonymous.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think this summer you're seeing some waves of people really trying to get to do it. You know, there's some books out there. Parmy Olson's book is really good. Gabriella Coleman, Quinn Norton have done some great work. But the truth is, it's really tough. And one of the big, I guess the most fun and the challenge are similar, because, you know, it was making film and trying to define it as things were happening, and every new thing was different. You know, the activity that they did with telecomics in Egypt is very different than the attack on WikiLeaks, on MasterCard, Visa, and PayPal in support of WikiLeaks. Even though those things are connected in very real ways.
We're going to get some questions from the audience now, so I'm going to do a little call out and then I'm going to repeat the questions to you. Is that okay? Brilliant. Okay, so are there any questions from our lovely cinema audience?
Is he a member of Anonymous?
Oh, that's a very good question. Brian, are you a member of Anonymous? There you go.
No, I'm an entirely independent journalist. Like I said, I work for PBS a lot, Bloomberg Television a lot, National Geographic. Anonymous has been portrayed a lot in the news as criminals and terrorists and things like that. And that's not entirely unfair. Anybody can join Anonymous and can do whatever they want. Sometimes do some really, truly ridiculous things. But I don't feel like anybody, except for a few isolated examples that come out this summer, anybody has really sat down and just listened to what do they want? Where are they coming from? What is the point? And I do think they have a point, even if some of them don't all laugh.
Okay. Oh, I have another question.
The boy and the girl at the end, what's the news on them? Are they still just waiting to go to trial?
Okay. The boy and the girl at the end, it's the girl who calls herself the internet denizen, and the chap who admitted to the FBI that he was involved. What's happened to them since?
Yeah, so those are two different cases. There's another one in there, Josh Covelli, who was part of the case, the internet denizen. So, as for the Anonymous 16, who have largely, they've been arrested mostly for attacks on PayPal, service attacks on PayPal. They are in the process of hearings, and their trial is ongoing, and actually they're waiting for trial, and they believe that trial is going to be, it could be as long as 8 or 10 months or even a year before that case is completely resolved. So I think that they look at evidence that's against them. PayPal is trying to prove damages, which how much damage did they do?
Hi, I'm Patrick. I was wondering about Brian, who took part in the attacks on the Church of Scientology. And I was wondering, he said he just followed those steps online, and he felt like he was standing up for what he felt was right. But I feel like he didn't really understand what he was doing, and what he was doing was against the law. So I was wondering, do you think if on that webpage at the top goes, what you're about to do is breaking the law, the steps you're about to take part in has the potential to end up in jail? Do you think he still would have done it, and do you think other people around the world would have still done it?
Well, that's a really good question, actually. I think in his case, the answer is yes, because I talked to him after he had been in prison for a year, and he said, yeah, I still would have done this. And yet, the answer is more complicated, I think, with other people. Although people that have actually been arrested for this, it's tough to find people that say that they didn't know that they were breaking the law. I haven't met that many people who have been actually arrested who weren't aware of what they were doing. So first of all, I think that's a really a very important discussion that happens sometimes and needs to happen more within Anonymous and the sort of wider internet activist kind of community. Civil disobedience, in the cases in the film, I personally haven't met anybody who has been, and I've gone through a lot of these cases, who didn't know that what they were doing was wrong or was illegal. But that doesn't mean that hasn't happened. And it's really important that, civil disobedience is a personal decision that people make, right? That they believe that the law itself is wrong. So if they choose to protest the law in a way that is breaking the law, like many great figures in history have done, Gandhi did it, right? Yeah. Everybody, Martin Luther King, I mean, how many laws did Gandhi break, right? Not a lot of people protesting there, not everybody sitting there. So the point is that they break the law because they believe that the law is wrong, and they're trying to make a point, and they're willing to take whatever consequences. Well, if they don't know that, and they're being cajoled by other people, then I think that is a very serious issue, or they're being strong-armed or encouraged to do it. I think that's something that needs to be taken into account.
It is that idea of powerful protest versus peaceful protest, and how people use their autonomy in deciding that. Okay, Brian, can you tell us about your forthcoming project? What you're working on now?
We're working on a couple of things. Most of them kind of tech-based stuff. Most of my work involves technology and humans, how it changes us and shifts our lives and alters our culture. Yeah. We're doing some more stuff. We're certainly trials right now, and I don't know where that's going to go. We're looking a little bit into WellSec. I don't know where that's going right now, or where that's going to. That's a really interesting period of time. We explore a little bit in the film.